criminal justice system? Question 1. Pedro killed Maria, his common-law wife, and their daughter. What are the crime S committed by Pedro? Question 2. This pillar must decide the culpability or innocence of the accused after careful examinations of the records of the case after its trial on the merit. Question 3. These are the rights required to be recited by a police officer except such information will imperil the arrest. Question 4. It is a systematized process which the government uses to maintain social control by enforcing laws and administering justice to maintain peace and order. Question 5. It is the stage where the accused is formally informed of the charge against him by reading before him the information or complaint and asking him whether he pleads guilty or not guilty. Question 6. Is the act of committing the crime? Question 7. This pillar in the Philippine criminal justice system includes people itself and people's organizations. The primary role of this pillar is to provide assistance to an offended party, especially when rights are asserted. Question 8. Of the following, which is not among the primary goals of the criminal justice system? Question 9. It is the taking of a person into custody so that he may be bound to answer for the commission of an offense. Question 10. It comprises all the means used to enforce those standards of conduct which are deemed necessary to protect individuals and to maintain general community well-being. Question 11. It is under the supervision and control of the Department of Justice and is tasked as the prosecutorial arm of the government. Question 12. The Passaic City Prosecutor's Office has filed a charge of inciting to sedition against Senator Tonio for allegedly encouraging the military to shoot President Pedro. What is the punishment if the senator is found guilty of the crime? Question 13. A pillar in the Philippine criminal justice system which is mandated to administer rehabilitation programs for offenders to get them ready to be integrated in the community again. Question 14. It is a governmental body officially assembled under the authority of law at the appropriate time and place for the administration of justice through which the state enforces its sovereign rights and power. It is also empowered by the Constitution to determine the guilt of the accused. Question 15. It entails the supervised release of offenders after they have served a portion of their sentence. Question 16. Which of the following public officers is not part of the law enforcement pillar of the Philippine criminal justice system? Question 17. The following are the agencies involved in the Philippine criminal justice system, except Question 18. It is when in his presence the person to be arrested has committed, is actually committing, or is attempting to commit an offense. Question 19. It involves community supervision in lieu of prison. Question 20. Which of the following statements is not true with regard to the National Prosecution Service? Question 21. Which of the following does not fall under the four classes of prisoners in the Philippines? Question 22. Which bureau under the Department of Justice is responsible for the treatment and rehabilitation of national prisoners serving sentences of more than 3 years? Question 23. It is an act committed by a juvenile for which an adult could be prosecuted in criminal court. Question 24. The following are functions of the police except: Question 25. It is a criminal justice model that is based on the idea that the most important functions of the pillars of the criminal justice system are the protection of the public and the repression of criminal conduct. Question 26. Behaviors that are law violations only for youth of juvenile status. Question 27. It is the mental knowledge of committing the crime. Question 28. This pillar includes the patrolling to supervise conduct, investigating to identify offenders or recover stolen or missing property, warning or arresting those who are probably guilty of criminal behavior, and assisting in the prosecution and trial of offenders. Question 29. Who among the following shall be considered a part of prosecution pillar of the Philippine criminal justice system? Question 30. It is an authority conferred by law to act in certain conditions or situations in accordance with an official or an official agency own considered judgment and conscience. Question 31. He is the person responsible for presenting the case in a criminal trial against an individual accused of breaking the law. Question 32. Which of the following does not belong to the correction pillar of the Philippine criminal justice system? Question 33. Ramelow was driving a truck loaded with sugarcane. While he maneuvers the vehicle in reverse, his 4-year-old daughter ran towards the rear side of the vehicle. When his wife Virgilita saw what was to happen, she ran after the girl, resulting to her being hit by the vehicle, killing her. What is the crime committed by Ramelow? Question 34. When a person is charged with an offense and the case is terminated either by an acquittal or conviction, or in any manner without the express consent of the accused, the latter cannot again be charged with the same or identical offense. Question 35. It is a change made by the President on the decision of the court by reducing the degree of penalty imposed upon the convicted felon. Question 36. He is the officer of the judiciary who issues warrant of arrest and determine the culpability of the accused. Question 37. In the law enforcement pillar of the Philippine criminal justice system, which of the following is not included? Question 38. Vilma, a pharmacist, is preparing a medicine for Kina, a cancer patient. Instead of using the prescribed drug, she erroneously used a highly poisonous substance. When the medicine was taken by Kina, the latter nearly died. What is the crime committed by Vilma? Question 39. It is a general pardon extended to a group or classes of person and is exercised by the President with the concurrence of Congress. It is usually given to political offenders. Its purpose is to bring about the return of dissidents and recalcitrant members of our population to their homes and resumption of their lawful pursuit. Question 40. It is a written direction or command of the court or any other competent authority, consigning an offender to jail or prison for confinement. Question 41. This was established under Batas Pambans. Number 129, known as the Judiciary Reorganization Act of 1980. It is composed of 1. Presiding Justice and 68 Associate Justices. Question 42. Is the life and practice of highway robbery and plunder. Question 43. It is a pillar of the Philippine criminal justice system which is mandated to investigate penal violations and evaluate evidence in the preliminary investigation. Question 44. In Latin, it literally means stand by things decided. Question 45. It is considered as the weakest link of the Philippine criminal justice system because of its failure to rehabilitate the inmates after serving their services. Question 46. The government agency that directs, supervises, and controls all district, city, and municipal jails nationwide is the Question 47. The special court having jurisdiction over criminal and civil cases involving graft and corrupt practices and other offenses committed by public officers and employees with salary grade 24 and above in relation to their offices is the Question 48. This pillar of the Philippine criminal justice system involves prevention of the commission of crime and protection of life, liberty, and properties of the citizens. Question 49. It refers to anything which is contrary or against the rules of a particular prison or jail facility, like cash, jewelry, dangerous drugs, and deadly weapons. Question 50. Dina abandoned her 2-day-old daughter in front of an orphanage in a bid to conceal her dishonor. Unfortunately, the street dogs mauled the helpless baby Resultina to her death. What is the crime committed by Dina? Question 51. When an accused is charged before the court and is unable to hire the services of a private lawyer, which of the following will serve as his defender? Question 52. Community members strengthen their role in crime prevention and in the dispensation and administration of justice in the criminal justice system through the following, except when they: Question 53. The Bureau of Internal Revenue Examiners, Commission on Audit Auditors, and Commission on Human Rights Investigators have one thing in common. They all belong to which pillar of the criminal justice system? Question 54. Martha, 16-year-old girl, and Jonas were lovers. While they were in the theater, Jonas kissed Martha, touched her breast, including her private parts, with her consent. What is the crime committed by Jonas? Question 55. Who among the following is not a law enforcer? Question 56. The pillar in the Philippine criminal justice system which is mandated to try and issue judgment on the cases between the accused and the victim. Question 57. It is a sworn written statement charging a person for an offense, subscribed by the offended party. Public officers or any peace officer in charge of the law violated. Question 58. It is the security given for the release of a person in custody of the law, furnished by him or bondsman, conditioned upon his appearance before any court as required under the condition. Question 59. This was created to amicably settle cases within their respective barangay, punishable by imprisonment not exceeding 1 year. Question 60. Which of the following statements is least accurate with regard to the office of the Ombudsman?